Good morning. It's January 8th. I'm Gene, and welcome to Hanging with Uncle. Today I want to talk about Malcolm X. Kind of random. Why, Gene? Is it his birthday? Nope. Was it the day he was assassinated? Nope. Just a lesson in hypocrisy and realizing it's okay to be human. So, again, one of the best books I ever read was the autobiography of Malcolm X, which is a banned book because society, white society, has labeled him a radical, a terrorist, and nothing could be further from the truth. So you have to understand the man to understand who he was and why he believed what he did and became the person that he did. Now, I picked up the book because I had a curiosity. Not so much about who was he, was his life glamorous, but X, Malcolm X. Nobody has the last name X. X is something you use when you can't write and that's your signature. But Malcolm was a very learned individual, very intelligent, very well spoken, very literate. So we know that's not the answer. So why? X stands for the unknown. That's why it's a variable in mathematics. Okay, like 4x minus 2 equals, so that's the X. It's unknown. And that's why I picked it up. Just to learn what his last name was. To learn, and I'm not going to tell you, read the book because it's very interesting. But he took the name X because his biological name wasn't his real name. It wasn't the name of his ancestors. It was the name of his slave owner. And so that's how the name got passed down to him. And he was like, I'm a young person would have toward white people at a very early age. Remember, we're a product of our surroundings. And that was an early part of his formative years. His mother was taken from him, grew up in foster care, never really got to have a relationship with his siblings. So from a young age, life was like, you don't belong here, you're not worth it, and, step and fetch it. And he was like, not doing that. So naturally, he turned to a life of crime. And we know that landed him in jail. And I'm very condensing it, right? But in jail, he met a Muslim who turned him on to, the Nation of Islam and the Islamic faith and what it meant to be a proud black man. And, he embraced it, turned his life around. A lot of respect, okay? Anybody that can pull themselves up out of a bad situation and become something positive, become a positive voice, which he was. Just because you don't like what he said doesn't mean it wasn't positive. He began his teachings, journey, whatever you want to call it, in Muslim prior to the Civil Rights Act. So again, product of your environment, grew up in an area where the draft was going on. They were sending people to Vietnam to fight for rights in a country that they didn't have here. Okay, which makes sense. How are you going to tell me to go fight to free those people when I'm not even free over here where I am right now? So just, think about it. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes if you have a big enough brain to actually empathize and, just soak it in for a second. But The real reason we're talking about this is because of hypocrisy. Okay, because again, the talk is, why did Malcolm X leave the Nation of Islam? Well, he didn't. The Nation of Islam left him, kicked him out, called him an outcast. Now, Elijah Muhammad at the time, who was so strict, these are what we do, these are our rules, right? This is the way we live. His sins came out. So, for example, Islam taught back then that if you were in an unmarried relationship, you were brought before the council of the nation. You were shamed and humiliated and ostracized, kicked out, banned for a period of time if you were lucky enough to even be considered to be let back in. And what Malcolm did was point out the hypocrisy. Like, wait a minute, we're doing these things to people, yet I believe there were 6 teenage girls that came to, be secretary for Elijah Muhammad, who all wound up pregnant by him. And he was like, wait a minute, you're doing the very thing that we have excommunicated these other people for doing. What makes you better than them? So the light went on, and he's like, I still believe in the religion, the faith of Islam. I'm not putting my faith in Elijah Muhammad because he's a liar, he's a hypocrite, and I can't get with that. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I hope that piques your interest to learn more about him, his life experiences, why he became the person he became, and why he was assassinated. So that's all I have for today. Pick it up, read the book. I promise you won't be disappointed if you open yourself up to learning something and experiencing the truth about a human being and who he was and why he became the person he did. You'll learn that Malcolm X's story is one of a journey from, again, what he grew up with, his transition to adulthood, and the man he became once he saw the light. And I hope Americans take a lesson from that today. So that's all I have for today. I'll see you guys later. Remember, be kind to one another. Treat each other the way you want to be treated. And if you like this information, this kind of content, this critical thinking, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.